Hello YouTube, it's netheranimations. Today I'm going to be doing a run/walk cycle tutorial. I was thinking of doing this tutorial since I figured out how to make my own run cycle. And it's kind of a modified version of all other tutorials I've been watching. But it's my own original one. Like, I didn't watch any tutorials when making it. But first, I'm going to teach you how to do a walk cycle. And I learned this walk cycle from Gorilla Gaming, who was one of the co-owners of this channel when we first started. He has a different name now. Profane. It's in the sidebar. He doesn't really upload anymore though. So, you're gonna want to get your rig. It doesn't really matter what rig it is. And you're gonna want to just make sure that you kind of select everything. Right now with FMR, I selected every part of the body like that. And then I went to frame 0 and I made a keyframe. And then you're gonna want to go to frame 15. Click on the waist or whatever moves your rig forward and backwards like this. You're going to want to move it 50 centimeters forward. And then you're going to want to go to the middle. And you're going to switch between frame 8 and frame 7. 7 or 8 frames ahead. You're going to switch between that sometimes, but it doesn't really matter. It sometimes you'll get a preference. Like I always do frame 8 and not frame 7. Just, I don't know why. But you're going to have this little arch like this. And that's good. So now you're going to want to move the foot about 80 about 80 centimeters forward. Or really just so that it does this and it can't be straight down. Because that's not how it's going to work. So then, now go to wherever your peak frame was. For me it was frame 8. For you maybe frame 7. And you want to lift up the foot until, not this. If it has like stretchy fancy feet, which I know most rigs do now, it's going to sort of like do this where it goes back normal. You're going to want to make it bend like that. And then you just go like that. And then so for the other leg, all you're going to want to do is go to frame 30, 15 more frames. Going to want to go 80 forward. Put a keyframe at frame 15. Go until it's sort of like that, which for this one was 170 and not 80 because it was all the way back here again. And then you're going to want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Usually you can tell by if it's the middle. Like this is frame 8, but this is frame 7. But 7 kind of looks more in the middle. But, you know, you're going to switch it up sometimes without even realizing it. Like, because that's just like your brain is like, oh, you know, this is the middle. You're going to want to raise that 10 up again, you know, put this up like that. I messed up. Just put this. Sorry, Cinema4D. You can't really select frames easy. It's a good program though. I've been using it for 4 years now. So yeah, that's just the basic walk cycle. And then for the left leg again, you just keyframe it. Go to frame 45. Move it forward. I don't really know. No, because I didn't move the waist again. Do a 50 forward. Then do it like that. Sometimes you want to make just minor adjustments. It doesn't have to be like even every single time. I mean, that's not really natural. You don't make every single footstep the same. So sometimes you might want to change it. It's really just up to your preference. So like I can move it up like that again. The body up a bit, I think. Like, yeah. You see like that. That step's kind of different, but it kind of looks more natural in some ways. So that's the walk cycle portion. And yeah, just for the arms, I just remember the arms. You're gonna want to go frame 15 and just sort of move this arm back. But when you're animating arms, always, or else it won't really look that natural. Unless you're kind of doing like a fun, like stretching, like a more cartoony type thing, or else it won't really look natural. Always give your arms a bit of a bend. Like just a little bit. Like when it's straight out like this, unless you're doing like this or like putting his hands out all the way like this for some reason, which that's very normal. You always want to give your arms some kind of bend, even when he's just idle with his hands down like this. It just sort of makes the stance look a bit more natural, because you're never really standing with your arms and feet stretched out. Usually when you're just standing, your elbows are back a little bit, and you know, this is how you stand. So yeah, I learned that super recently actually, but I've always kind of done it on my own. And then yeah, so you do that, and then you go to frame 30, and you like move this one forward. Remember to give it a little bend, and you come over here and move this one back. Remember to give it a little bend. And yeah, that's just how you do a walk cycle. It's super, super easy. But I know when you're first beginning to animate, you literally have no idea how to do it. I mean, I know I didn't until Gorilla showed me how to. My old animations were just him kind of standing there because I didn't know how to make a move. And it was, you know, yeah, that's how you do a walk cycle. So now, let's, goodbye. We're just gonna load in the Steve rid right now, Steve character, because right now I'm kind of like, oh, I don't really want to load in a skin because I don't really want you guys to see my files. You know, it's not like, you know, I don't really, most of it is just like, oh, I don't want you to see my animations. Because I do have some projects that I'm working on, but I don't know. Like, my problem is I kind of start projects and sometimes I don't really finish them, but I really want to try to do more projects with this reboot of the channel. Anyway. Also, something you may have noticed is that I never really use my skin for these types of things, like the tests and stuff. That's just because I like to involve, like, a lot of people. Like, all the skins that I've used so far are, like, my friends. Like, the people that I know in real life. Except for the first two with M. Riley and Super Controller. Those were just people that play on my server. Alright. So for a run cycle, it's kind of difficult, but also, I don't know. Like, it took me a long, long time to learn. Almost, like, people tried teaching me in the beginning, but, I wasn't really getting it. So what you're gonna want to do is if Cinema4D would make a pop out, I don't know why. Either way, you just want to select everything again, put a keyframe, go 10 frames this time, and then just move it forward 170. I don't know why 170, that's just how I was told to do it. And then you're gonna want to move the foot about 200, 210-ish out. You know, it's really, most of this is just your preference, really. And then you're gonna want to come to 5 and move it up 10. Move this up like this. And yeah. So then once it's like that, this is gonna look super weird when you first do it. You want to just like up and just like, the first step always kind of looks weird, but you're going, by the time you're done, right? Like that looks weird, but by the time you're done, it will mesh together, and it will make sense why you're moving the character like this. Or yeah, hold on. It makes actually a lot more sense if you, sorry, keep all that. This is my preference on how I like to do it. You can keep all that the way you liked it before. But this is how I usually do it when I mess up like that. I know it's super possible. Like, just follow along, right? Keep moving, go as long as you want the run to be first, because it'll look a lot more natural to you while animating if he's continuously moving still. That's just my personal preference. I know I'm saying personal preference a lot, but that's really what animation is. You don't, you know, if you made it this far in the tutorial, that's pretty great. But by the time you like become like super good at animating, because everyone can become really good at animating, it's especially 3D animating. Like 3D animating is a lot easier than 2D animation because you don't need to be able to draw. You just need to be able to move the feet. I guess that doesn't really make any sense. That doesn't really make any sense. I was just thinking of what I was doing. I was like, I'm moving feet. You gotta be able to move the feet. But yeah, you just gotta be able to, to do the motion. And really, the motion is easy. It's just a bit like, what's the word I'm looking for? I know it's just like intense when you first start, like brooding, intimidating. It's an intimidating thing when you first start. Because it's like, oh, I want to be like Black Plasma Studio. I'm assuming most people know Black Plasma Studio now. I don't know if people know who. People know who Slamcow is, still, I would assume. But I'm assuming that the most popular animation center right now is either Blue Monkey, who I like that Blue Monkey is still popular, because he was popular when I animated a few years ago. But it's either Blue Monkey or Black Plasma Studio. So what you were watching me do just then was you put a keyframe at frame 5, right? When the foot's still on the ground. And you want to do it when this knee is up, like he's going. And then you basically just do this part right here. This is the next keyframe. You want the leg to sort of be bending behind the character as this foot is about to be overtaken or passed. So once this leg gets passed at frame 15, you want to make this one have the knee up like this one did at frame 5, which I know, they're not always going to be exactly the same. And you shouldn't try to make them exactly the same. Because like I said last time, it doesn't really look natural. Not every single step you do is the exact same. So, yep. So then you go to your waist again. You move it up. And you're going to want to do this really quickly too. Like I said, this is very easily modifiable. And, you don't have to quit doing this entirely. Just do this one. I actually did this tutorial already before a few minutes ago, but I restarted it because I forgot to move the waist properly. Anyway, do you see how that looks natural now? And how when we first started it kind of looked weird? So what you're going to want to do with the other leg now is you're going to want to go to frame 15. And then you're going to want to post a keyframe. And by the end of this, you're going to have a frame on every 5, even though technically it's not moving. And what you're going to want to do for this one. Oh yeah, this is when you put his foot down. Let's add a plane really quickly. That'll help with this step a lot. So this is where you put his foot back down. And that's just about as easy as it sounds. You just put his foot back down. Make it go out a little bit again. And then you take this foot. If it has fancy feet, if it doesn't have fancy feet. If it does have fancy feet, you're going to want to have to rotate this. But if it does not have fancy feet, you do not have to rotate this. That's just to keep the fancy feet okay. Because fancy feet can make really sharp triangles and glitch out. And fancy feet are great, but when they work. Like when fancy feet were just coming up in the Cinema4D rigs, I didn't really like them. Because they didn't really, they didn't feel Minecrafty to me. Like that's why I love the FMR rig so much, is because it's very, very, very similar to the original paid Weed Lion rig, except for the mouth. If the mouth was like the Weed Lion rig, which is the Blue Monkey rig now, this would be a 10 out of 10 rig for me. And I'm not saying the mouth is bad either. It's just like, yeah, it's a good rig. And I can kind of tell that he used Weed Lion's tutorial to make it. Just because everyone used Weed Lion's tutorial to make their rigs. Alright, so now your run should look like that. And if you really want to finish off the run, because, sometimes, you just want to, you're just going to want to put the foot down again. And right now, then you do this, like we said before, keyframe it even though it's not going to move. And then bring this over, turn it, and do that. And go forward. This is going to be a lot shorter of a stride because you're trying to finish it off. And I'm not perfect at finishing my runs at all yet, either, because it's kind of weird. But just delete these keyframes. Because I'm going to cut it off here. And move it kind of like so it goes to here. And then select your foot. Keyframe it there, even though it's not going to move. And then put your thing here. And it's kind of abrupt stop, but when you try to make it overly animated, it sort of just looks kind of weird. Like, I can't really explain it, but like for my super controller test run, you can kind of tell that I was trying to make it like a super animated stop, and it just kind of looked weird in the end. So now for really the most difficult part. It's the waist movement. No, not the waist movement, the arm movement. But something I forgot to do was bend the waist down. This is a really, really easy thing though. And when in Cinema4D R18, I think they made like all this stuff kind of separate. So I rotated it down and it stayed rotated anyway. So as you can see, this is a good run, all on its own. It's even got a good stop. That's a pretty good stop. Not the best, but you know, if this is your first ever run, that's very, very good. So then you want to go 5 frames forward. You're going to want to move. Use this arm back, like this. No, nothing special. The same as the run, pretty much. The same as the walk, pretty much, I mean. But then you're going to want to move this arm forward, and depending on if you want to or not, you're going to want to move this one a bit to the side, like that. And that sort of makes it a bit more realistic, but it sort of also adds an extra step that you really don't need, but you also kind of do need. It's really your preference. I know I haven't said that in a while, so you know I just had to say your preference again. You know, because yeah, it's really just your preference on whether or not you want to do this or not. It won't really add or remove anything from the run besides maybe just a sort of a minor detail type thing that some people will notice, but like most people won't unless they're other animators. And really, other animators are very, very not judgmental. I mean, from all the people that I've shown my new animations to, especially as someone who hasn't animated in a long time, I actually am getting a lot of support on my newer videos. So yeah, I mean, the animation community, if you want to get involved in it, is filled with pretty supportive people who actually give you, like criticism. Because something that I like about the community is when they can actually give criticism as well. And, not just like, oh, this is really good. Good for you. But because most people actually do want criticism. Like, they want to know if it's bad or not. That's why they're asking, or, showing. Like, I personally do not dislike this plain hateful criticism. Something that I noticed, right, is that the arm movement might be a little fast. But that might give me an opportunity, right, to show you what it would look like without this type of arm movement. Like, for the leg up like this, it should be like that. And then, like, this. This is actually a very easy fix. If you make this mistake, I'm sorry. Like, this is good. But for knee up like this, they should actually be in the center. Not in the, not out all the way yet. Because you want them to be out all the way when it's like that. So, that first, like, boom, it's kind of gonna look weird. And I'm not a professional yet, either. But like that, just like, just sort of like do it, like, so that they're in the middle when the knee's up. But then they also, like, here. This is the ideal pose for most of them. Like, when it's full out, but that arm is forward, that knee is back, This is the ideal pose for when this is happening. So, if you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to leave a like, maybe subscribe. I'll be having some new animations out in the future, or I might just do tutorials for a while. You know, because these tutorials, like, they're fun for me to do. I actually enjoy doing them. Because there's just sort of a way for me to not only show what I know, but also kind of like tell myself what I know too. Like, oh, you know, I know how to do this, I know how to do this. So if you want any more tutorials, then just leave a comment below. I know, like, most things, like importing worlds I told you about last tutorial. This tutorial was walk and run cycles. I can probably do, like, a jumping one. I know how to do lip syncing. I know how to, like, do, like, facial animation properly and stuff. And so, yeah, I can probably do a ton of tutorials for you guys. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you want my next tutorial to be if you want me to do another one. And I will see you in the episode or animation next time. See ya.